Good afternoon, I'm Big Rick. That's Lola, it's Real Big Talk here on the Watchdog. A lot of things on the list today. I would love to start with something happy and fun. It's very nice out. Let's start there. Let's start with something that everybody can get behind, that it's nice outside. Unfortunately, Thursday, there's a possibility we might see a snowflake. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. And it is April Fool's Day, but I have a feeling that not everybody is in on that joke. I have shorts on. I put my pants away, Lola. I was done with them. And now I either have to be the guy that wears shorts when it could snow, or I have to get them back out. And I'm not happy about either one of those things. I just want it to be summer so bad. It's not good to wish away time. It's not. I mean, we never know. Wishing away time is not a good thing, but I do wish these last death rattles of winter would get the hell out of here. I can tell you that much. I don't know if you guys saw this. I want to talk about it. 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. You can call. Let's discuss this. It is revolting on multiple levels. Yesterday, a 65-year-old Asian woman was knocked to the ground in New York City outside of a luxury New York City apartment building and repeatedly kicked by an assailant. That's disgusting as it is, but I actually think the thing I'm having the harder time with is people that worked inside that luxury apartment building watched. There is video of them watching this. Take the Asian factor out of it. They watched a 65-year-old woman
get stomped.
And
they didn't even bother to go out after the fact, let alone to stop it, but go out after the fact to see if she was all right.
I know. I'm revolted. It's revolting and disgusting. You know, we've talked about it, and you can't avoid it if you want to, the subject of Asian hate crimes. You couldn't avoid it if you wanted. But this is an elderly person. This is a 65-year-old woman. This is a woman. This is a human. You can go back. You can peel as many layers of that onion out as you want. But people stood there and watched a woman get stomped. And when I read this story, and I know this is obviously was intended for the purpose of entertainment, but I remember the end of Seinfeld, when the series ended. The characters in Seinfeld were in some little town in Massachusetts, I think it was, and they recorded a guy getting his car stolen. And they made fun of it in the video. Now, the guy wasn't hurt, and obviously this was a television show, but the idea was they created a Good Samaritan law, saying that if you are capable and able, you have to help people who are in trouble. You know, as silly as that sounds, I kind of wish that was a real law. Because the fact that somebody watched an Asian woman get stomped, a woman get stomped, a senior citizen get stomped, and then didn't have the decency not only to jump in and try to help, scare the person off, whatever you could do, then they just didn't even go check. They just didn't go check. That's where we're at in America. That's where we're at. And I can't feel good about that. How do you guys feel about it? 304-214-1600. Is this just the way it is? If this happened, if you were walking past a store at the Highlands and you saw somebody getting stomped outside Cabela's, would you not jump in? Is this a New York thing? Is this an American citizen thing? What is this? If you watch the video, you will be disgusted by it. You will be disgusted by it.
Well, I'm happy to say the people in the lobby that worked at the hotel were all fired.
That is good news.
For not doing any. In fact, the one guy, like a doorman or something, actually closed the door instead of going out to see.
Yeah. I don't know what this is. I would think that if maybe the world hasn't been what it's been for the last couple of years, and certainly in this last year, I would say this is probably just an isolated incident by people who are not good people, that don't inherently have good intentions. But I actually think this would be the norm. And I just can't believe that. I can't believe that that would be the norm. I mean, and let's face it, we only really get stories from other places that the media feeds us. There are a lot of bad things happen in a lot of places that we never see.
Well, that was not the only incidence of people doing something to an Asian just yesterday.
Oh, no, I know. But what I'm saying is, how often do we not know? How often do we not see this? I mean, this happened, of course, to have video accompanying it, which isn't necessarily a good thing, although maybe it is a good thing. Maybe we should all have to watch it and kind of realize that most of us were raised better than to take inaction. And it's scary as hell. I get that. The world is a scary place right now. Jumping in and perhaps causing yourself harm is a scary thought. And I can see, I guess, on some levels why people tend to look the other way. But this happened in the middle of a New York City street, not the back roads of Ohio County, West Virginia, or Washington, PA. This happened in a busy street in the biggest metropolitan city in America. And you're telling me that just going out and screaming and shaking your fist would not have scared somebody off? I mean, how do you not think there are cameras everywhere? There are cameras everywhere in Wheeling. There's 10 times the cameras on any given city street, any place, any hotel lobby, any luxury apartment complex and street corner in New York. There's tenfold. I got news for you. Whatever you did today, somebody caught you on camera, whether it was you putting on lipstick at the red light, whether it was you picking up your slice of pizza for lunch, whatever it was, somebody caught you on camera, because that's how many cameras there are. Now multiply that by New York City, and that's how many options that you would have to be caught. So I would think nobody's of sound mind that's going to do this to any human being, certainly not a senior citizen. Again, I'm taking the Asian part out of it for right now. I mean, yes, it's obviously an Asian hate crime, but this is a senior citizen woman. She's 65. I can't imagine if I was on that video and I had to face my mother who saw me not do anything to help another human, let alone a senior citizen woman. How do you live with yourself? How does your family live with you? How do your friends look at you again? Or am I just so warped that those people just don't care and I still take this seriously? I don't know.
Or they think the same way you do. I mean, they've got he for the lack of all he didn't do was look up at a camera. I mean, the picture is clear as day as to who he is.
Yeah.
And, he did all this and then calmly just kept on his way down the sidebar.
I think he was on his way to church or something, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, there's details coming out about this story, and we'll continue, I'm sure. But again, by the time the details about this story come out, we'll unfortunately have another story that's very similar to this one.
Yeah.
And we won't have time to go back to the details of this one. This 11:40 in the morning. I mean, the middle of the afternoon. And this happened. I don't know. To me, this is what makes things sometimes hard. It makes it hard to sleep at night. Makes it hard to sleep at night just to think that this kind of stuff happens. I didn't ever think that the world was all sunshine and rainbows. But I don't know, I just thought humans were better. It's my own stupid fault, I think. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Phone lines are open today, 304-214-1600. Anything you want to talk about, we'll get into. 4 o'clock hour, Stephen Allen Adams will join us. There is a lot to talk about in Charleston. That might take an entire hour. We might have to go into overtime with Steve just to get all of those subjects in and more, especially about the taxes and things like that and what's going to happen and whose plan is where. It's going to be an interesting conversation with Steve. We'll be back with more on The Watchdog.
The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio is live on The Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We talk to some of the region's best business owners while keeping you informed about area events and happenings. You won't believe who I have on next. Tune in and get with the program. Guests from preachers to pros and even some Super Bowl champions. Join me, Bill DeFabio, from noon to 2 for The Variety Show on The Watchdog.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing!
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time. Here you go.
Thanks Mike, doing a great job. All right, 2 ice cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
April 1st, a day for pranks, jokes, and of course, a Nailers hockey game. And Easter egg hunt for kids and adults. Find all the eggs for a chance to win merchandise, gift cards, and a golden egg with 10 free tickets for the West Virginia Lottery Powerball Suite. Sponsored by Generations, Healthy Vibes for You, and Tito's Sloppy Dogs. Get tickets for the April 1st Nailers Easter egg hunt at West Banco Arena. Game time 7:10. Call 304-234-GOAL or visit WheelingNailers.com. This is Nail City.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I check on Ford.
Hi, this is Shauna Johnson from Metro News. Join us weekdays on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe for the latest regional news from West Virginia and beyond, along with news and weather from WTRF-TV and Bill DeFabio Sports. We give you the Ohio Valley's most comprehensive morning news right here on the Watchdog.
See if you can spot this one.
lonely. No one waiting by your side. You've been running hiding much too long. You know it's just your foolish plan. Hey, love, got me on my knees.
224 here at the Watchdog. I'm Big Rick. That is Lola, not Layla. That's Lola. We started talking about, on the show, started with this disgusting hate crime that took place in New York City yesterday. 65-year-old Asian woman just stomped in front of others who did nothing. And now let's take it to Minnesota, where the second day of the Derek Chauvin trial continues. Darnella Frazier, she is the 18-year-old woman who filmed the now infamous video that essentially showed George Floyd being murdered. She says, "There have been nights I have stayed up apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more." This isn't the first time that we saw people standing on the sidelines recording crimes. But I would venture to say this is probably the most influential video of a crime that our nation has ever seen. This is a little bit of a different situation, but again, where does the Good Samaritan rule come into play? Is there even anything left known as a Good Samaritan? I really don't know the answer to that. But this is a little different, and I'm not justifying any of it, so please don't misconstrue what I'm saying as a justification for what happened. But trying to help a 65-year-old Asian woman who's being stomped by a pedestrian is a little different than trying to interfere with what cops are doing, one on the neck and three around her. What realistically could she have done? I think filming somebody in that situation is probably not what I would do, but then again, I've not particularly been in that situation. I would imagine that person does have nightmares. I mean, really, that video, necessary or not, sparked an entire movement and revolution. But at the end of the day, she filmed somebody dying. What could you do? 304-214-1600. Do you run up and try to push the cop?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You can't.
She did all she could do, and that was document what was happening. No, they wouldn't. No.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a frustrating thing because what do you do? What do you do? You're recording someone who's, now you don't know how that is going to end, but it doesn't look good. You don't know how it's going to end. And you're recording this crime done by a police officer. What are your options there? I really don't know, especially with three other cops around him.
Well, people have been arrested for filming. When, they're told to stop and they don't stop, which I wouldn't stop, and they arrest them.
I had, a couple weeks ago, do you remember when I said I was going to post something to a friend's timeline and I went to go find them and they were gone?
Yeah.
Well, that particular friend of mine, or whatever he is to me now, I have no issues with him, even though we have a difference of opinion on quite a few things, but for whatever reason, he's decided that we're not friends anymore, at least on social media. He went to the Capitol on the 6th, and he's a photojournalist, and he's really good at what he does. I hate that wherever he is in life, that we can't still be friends, because again, I don't let politics separate me from people that I like, even if I don't agree or disagree. If we're on the same team politically, but I don't like you as a person, I won't like you. It's just, these are things that I think you have to judge on an individual basis. Is this a person for me and for my life, or not? Does this person benefit my life to have in my life? Just because someone disagrees with you on a political spectrum doesn't mean that they can't be your friend. But in Columbus, when a lot of the protests and rioting was happening there, which really, on the grand scheme of things in Columbus, wasn't a ton, but that's where he lives, and he documented it. And I watched what was happening through his lens, through his camera, and there is something to be said for the value of seeing these types of things firsthand. And he got maced, is where I'm getting to. Just absolutely, just sprayed down. And it's on film because he had a recorder on his chest. This is what he does. And it's terrifying. But I'm pretty sure that's why he ended up getting maced, because he wouldn't stop filming what was happening. Mm-hmm. That's a tough place to be, because if you consider yourself to be a journalist in some way, shape, or form, no, I don't. I consider myself to be a talk show host. But if you consider yourself to be a journalist, whether it's print, photo, whatever, your job is to do just that. This girl in the George Floyd case, as far as the one who filmed the video, she was a bystander who had, I guess, no other recourse in her mind but to film it. You can't knock this cop off of the neck of somebody else. What would you have done? And that's where I think she probably does have nightmares about that. I mean, she recorded a video that changed America as we know it. Whether you think it brought America closer together or divided it is however you choose to play it. But I can't tell you that I would want that responsibility. I don't know that I would want to be the author of that.
It doesn't matter that she was recording it. She watched someone be murdered. You know, camera or no camera. She stood there and watched someone die. The recording was just incidental to the incident.
Oh, no, what I'm saying is just personally, when she goes to sleep at night,
well, yeah,
she got to relive that over and over and over again, and I'm sure that is very difficult.
Oh,
I mean, that was... Had that video, devil's advocate, had that video never existed, would America be where it is right now? Again, that's whether you think it brought us closer together or further apart is that's everybody's call to make as an individual. But if that video didn't exist, if she left her phone in her car, per se, or just didn't have one with her and no one else caught that video, because I've never really seen another one. I don't know if maybe that's just the best straight on one, and so we've never seen any of the others. But if that video didn't exist, would things have changed? Would these things that we've seen in the past year have happened? I doubt it. I doubt it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's probably a very difficult position to be the person that put that video out into the world. Although necessary, and like Lola said, she did what she could. Can't go over and try to attack a police officer. That's not going to end well for anyone. But it was your video. It was your choice to choose, your choice to film it and to release that video. I'm not judging that. But I'm just saying you essentially created the video that sparked something that no one would have imagined. I mean, it felt like it was coming. It felt like it was coming. But that would be, to me, a hard thing to know that I had a responsibility for. I mean, George Floyd dying is the overall, I get that. That's the situation. That is the point. But I'm just saying we are quick to film, and it's hard to do anything about some of this stuff. I don't know. I just remember hearing the term Good Samaritan as a kid, and I feel like we just have two examples just today to talk about of what does that mean anymore? I don't know. Have you ever been driving somewhere and someone was pulled over the side of the road and you stopped to help them? I can't tell you. I've done that. I can't tell you the last time I have, though. And maybe it's because before people had cell phones, there was nobody to call because you had to either walk for gas or you needed to jump or any of those types of things. I mean, just think about how many times people have said, hey, do you have any jumper cables? Now you wouldn't even approach somebody. If you were just up at the Highlands and your car needed jumped, you'd probably call somebody to come up and do it before you would ask somebody walking out of a store if they had jumper cables and to help you. To me, that doesn't create a better environment. It doesn't create a better world that we don't do that. But I totally understand why we don't. And I would do the same thing. I would just call somebody. I would rather pay and take the risk out of talking to strangers at this point. And that stinks. I don't want to be like that. And this is kind of the way I see it. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We've got new topics. We've got your phone calls. And we'll talk some sports today. And Stephen Allen Adams coming up at 4 to discuss a wild week. And it's only Tuesday in Charleston. This is the Watchdog.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. State Senate has its own income tax reduction plan now moving forward, scheduled to be talked about this afternoon in the Senate Finance Committee. That includes increasing the state sales tax to more than 8%. Metro News statewide correspondent Brad McElhaney says the plan calls for also bringing back the food tax.
Great pride in over a period of years getting that down to zero. So then bringing it back at 3%, that's going to be a hard sell over in the House of Delegates.
And the House has its own version of the income tax reduction bill as well. That calls for rolling back the tax gradually over 12 years with no other increases. Earlier today, the House Judiciary Committee advanced a bill that's been of great interest to sportsmen in the state. The bill would change rules regarding the Natural Resources Commission. And under the legislation, there would need to be a commissioner from each of the DNRs, 6 operational districts and 1 at-large member. Currently, they're required to be 1 for each from a congressional district and the other 4 at large. The bill also would reduce the terms of commissioners from 7 to 4 years, allowing them to serve only 2. The bill advanced to the floor on a voice vote. Kanawha Charleston Health Director Dr. Sherry Young says she expects as many as 1,000 Kanawha County High School students will be vaccinated by day's end against COVID-19.
This is going to help make a dent in our cases. We have, of course, we've had some 16 and older get vaccinated since that was opened up. This is a concerted effort to go to them.
Clinics are operating in all 8 Kanawha County high schools today. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Interim Chief of Police in Morgantown has been named to serve permanently in that position. Eric Powell now takes the reins. He's been serving since former Chief Ed Preston resigned in June of 2020. He's been named the permanent police chief now. He's a Morgantown native, and Powell joined the Morgantown Police Department in 1997 after previously serving as a correctional officer for the Montague County Sheriff's Department. He worked his way up through the ranks, serving as an officer, detective, supervisor, and the deputy chief. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. Joey Logano won NASCAR's return to a dirt track yesterday at Bristol Motor Speedway, outlasting Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who was in second, followed by Denny Hamlin, Daniel Suarez, and Ryan Newman in the top 5. The race had been moved to Monday due to weather on Sunday. 2 more spots are up for grabs in the Final Four on both the men's and the women's tournament. In the men's tournament tonight, USC will play Gonzaga. UCLA meets Michigan. Both of those games on TBS, and tonight in the women's tournament on ESPN, it's Texas against South Carolina and Louisville against Stanford. Today's the final day of spring training, and Major League Baseball opening day is Thursday. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by the Score on the Watchdog.
Let's start with every bunny out there who loves filling up baskets for Easter, like yours truly. Now narrow it to all those rambunctious rabbits who realize they're a couple of goodies short. Easter emergency! For you, Walgreens has a great selection of Easter candy, toys, and gifts with pickup in as little as 30 minutes. So finish filling your Easter baskets in one quick hop at Walgreens.
This week, select Easter baskets, accessories, and gifts are buy one, get one 50% off. Restrictions apply to offer and pickup. See walgreens.com/pickup for details.
Guys, we need to clear a path here.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can stall your business.
But tonight, John.
Like at Chris's Logistics Company, to avoid things grinding to a halt, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy!
Yeah!
You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Oh, there's something so real about living local. And I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Hi, it's Howard Monroe. Coming up tomorrow on the Watchdog Morning Show, we will look at crossover day in West Virginia's legislature. It's the day when bills have to get from one house to another. No more can happen after that. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be taking a look at the COVID situation. While vaccines are becoming more and more prevalent, COVID numbers are rising. And we'll take a look at the George Floyd murder case, the case of the cop accused of killing George Floyd. Much more as well in the morning, starting at 7, right here.
That's Lola, I'm Rick. Real Big Talk continues here on the Watchdog, 242. I feel like we've underplayed this story a little bit, Lola. We probably should talk about it because today is the beginning of really what could change the way and how much America pays to have things moved and shipped. Today is the first day that vote counting begins in the historic effort to unionize Amazon's Bessemer, Alabama fulfillment center. Now you're probably thinking, well, why does that matter to me? Because I think it's the first of many, that's why. I mean, this is, and I will say this, Amazon did everything they could to delay this from happening. I mean, no one is going to sit here, and I've mentioned this before, and I know it sounds crazy, but I've never ordered anything from Amazon, ever. And I know so many people that they order everything from Amazon. I mean, toilet paper. I mean, they don't go to the store anymore. Between having that service, there's many of them, like Instacart or whatever, and you can order everyday items from Amazon and they ship in 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So I know people that haven't had to go, like, I go every 2 weeks and stock up on whatever I need because I don't like to go. This was pre-pandemic. I was like that. So I was never one to just, I'll run and get it tomorrow. I'll run and get it 2 days from now. I have friends that go shopping every other day because they only want to eat things that they get fresh. What? No problem with that either if that's who you are. But Amazon changed the game. I mean, that even seems like a light sentence. I mean, Amazon changed everything, not just the game. They changed everything. They changed the way we shop. They changed the way we think. I mean, you think about it, the way that Amazon markets itself in our social media habits, on television, geofencing, all the things. Everywhere you look, you see that little smiley arrow thing. Mm-hmm. They changed everything about the way we operate. And maybe you're like me. Maybe you don't order from Amazon, but that doesn't mean they haven't changed the way you do things. Like, this is the most influential thing. I would say Amazon is one of the top 3 most influential things the last 25 years, if not the top.
It's the United States of Amazon.
Yeah, it really is.
And now I utilize Amazon quite a bit, but it beats going from, to like 6 different stores to get little things that I need. And I know if I walk into a store, I'm going to walk out with far more than
absolutely.
I planned on getting when I walked in. So, like things like Gretchen's glucosamine, the cat's flea stuff, all that kind of. And like today, I'm going to order a gift that will be sent directly to my daughter-in-law for
How
her
great is
birthday.
that? How great is that?
Well, I know. So it's like, yeah, we've used Amazon so much in the last year, far more than we ever did before. But a lot of it is just I don't like to shop, period, and neither does Linda. So it's quite convenient to get on Amazon and find what I need, and for the most part, a lot of times it's less expensive.
There's you just rattled off 4 or 5 advantages that people find in it, and I don't know if I just don't want to sit there and go through it. And I think the nice thing is, like you said, I go to 4 or 5, 6 different stores. You don't have to do that, but you know what? If you remember you didn't get something after you get home, you just order it again, and it still just ships to your house. That's really a game changer. But what is going to happen here with this, idea of unionizing at this little Amazon plant, Amazon warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama, is going to change how the American workforce works. If these efforts to unionize work out for the workers here, I think that could be good and bad. Amazon will find a way to use less people. Look at Walmart. And now I admit, and I have mentioned this before, I love the self-checkout line because it's less people I have to talk to and less people putting their hands on the items I'm going to take home. I don't know what happened to those items before I got them, but in my mind, they have a fresh new start at my house until I use them. But if you go through the line, someone else handles them, they pack them for you, they may put your, if you're at Walmart, you could buy a car battery, they may put it on top of your eggs. So I don't want that. I just like to go and put things in the bags I want to put them in and get the hell out. Amazon will find a way to use AI and eliminate employees. And I got news for you. Amazon employs a lot of people. A lot of people. Amazon employs at least 5 people that I know in various capacities, and most of which are drivers. So things will always need to be delivered. I don't think anytime soon AI is going to start to deliver your packages.
Well, I don't know. They got those little drones that just drop the stuff in your front yard.
Yeah, well, there are places that deliver with drones, but I would imagine at this point we're not quite there yet. So I think humans will need to be delivering things for quite a while. But AI can certainly sort them. If you've ever been inside or ever looked inside an Amazon sorting facility, which I have 2 of them, like I said, I have 5 people in my life, but 2 I really know very well that work for Amazon. One is a driver and one sorts everything. I've been in there. When the pandemic came, I thought about going to drive for Amazon so I could continue to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, AI can do it. And Amazon has enough money to invest in the AI up front for it to pay for itself quickly. So this is a big deal. And I think people deserve healthy wages and good work environments. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against them trying to unionize. All I'm saying is, if this is what happens, what did we hear when everybody wanted $15 an hour at McDonald's? Well, they created those machines those AI machines that will fry the burgers and make the fries, and you can order through them. It eliminated people. Hey, it's cheaper for us to one-time cost this machine and then maintenance than it is to employ people. Amazon will do the same thing. If this continues to happen, we're going to run out of jobs. I know that sounds crazy considering what we talked about yesterday and how everybody's trying to hire right now. Everybody. I stopped at the Highlands for gas and grabbed something to eat today. Every single place I saw are now hiring.
Absolutely.
Every single one I drove past. From the time I got off the highway, went into Sheetz, and then just kind of went around and grabbed something to eat and looped my way back around, Everybody. Now hiring. Huge size. Can't find anybody. Well, if we're not going to go back to those jobs, and Amazon's going to go, you know what? You want to unionize? Fine. We'll just use half of you and do this. We are going to run out of jobs. Keep your eye on this Amazon thing. Today is the first day they're counting the votes. I don't know when this will come out to whether or not they're going to be able to unionize, but I assure you, if this works, all of them
Absolutely,
are
they
going
will.
to fall into line and try to unionize. And that will be an interesting story to follow. The American workforce is shifting, not only because of pandemic, but because of technology, and because the people want basic opportunities and rights and to unionize and protect themselves. And big companies like Amazon don't want that. They don't want that. This is going to be a big story coming up either later this week or into the beginning of the new month of April. But we will continue to follow that. 304-214-1600 is the phone number. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and finish out the hour here on The Watchdog.
The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio is live on The Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We talk to some of the region's best business owners while keeping you informed about area events and happenings. You won't believe who I have on next. Tune in and get with the program. Guests from preachers to pros and even some Super Bowl champions. Join me, Bill DeFabio, from noon to 2 for The Variety Show on The Watchdog.
Babies come with lots of decisions. Cloth or disposable? Crib or bassinet? So when it comes to protection, go with the safest, most effective choice, vaccination. Get all the recommended vaccines for your baby by age 2 to protect your child against 14 serious childhood diseases. For more reasons to vaccinate, talk to your child's doctor. Go to cdc.gov/vaccines or call 800-CDC-INFO. A message from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Martin's Ferry. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Martin's Ferry trusts the Watchdog.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
She grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mom who never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with them Indiana boys on an Indiana night. Well, she moved down here at the age of 18. She blew the boys away, it was more than they'd seen. I was introduced and
Boy, I wish we had Tom Petty back. summers are made for Tom Petty. Sunshine is made for driving fast, windows down, and listening to Tom Petty. I'm Big Rick, that's Lola. This is Real Big Talk. On the Watchdog, I saw the story last night and I just went to confirm, and it was just posted earlier today. Over on wheelinghospital.org, they have a lot of vaccines coming this week. They have some now and into next week. 5,000 doses, and there's an opportunity here. Anybody over 16 is now eligible in the state of West Virginia to get vaccinated, and I have a feeling that even if you're from just the area, you can get vaccinated.
As long as you're a West Virginia resident.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Ohio County, but just a West Virginia resident.
Yeah, so let your friends know that are in West Virginia. This is an opportunity to really get a jump on our region. 5,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. I have to say, it seems to be the Cadillac of vaccines. It's been 90%, I saw yesterday, 90% effective in real-world situations are both Pfizer and Moderna. And I'm not dogging Johnson & Johnson. Please get whatever vaccine that you can when it is offered to you. But everything since the real-world testing has started, when people starting to get it, looks very positive.
Yeah, it does. But you have to get it.
Yeah, you actually have to get it, and here's a chance. So if you've been kind of lying in the weeds about it, you're not sure that you want to do it, get the information, talk to your doctor, and honestly, just listen to the millions of people who are absolutely fine after getting it. Absolutely fine. And again, I will always tell you to get vaccinated, but really the opportunity for people who don't have to be over 65, you don't have to be over 55. It's the time is now. The surge is coming. Get in on the ground floor of not getting COVID right here in Wheeling. Go to wheelinghospital.org. The information is listed there. Get registered and get it, because 5,000 doses, the numbers are actually pretty staggering. He said actually almost 50% of Ohio County residents have received at least their first dose of vaccine. That is terrific news. That is terrific news. It's not enough. It's not enough.
It's a damn good start.
It is a damn good start.
Summer is coming. We have festivals and concerts and things like that. Get vaccinated so that everyone feels safe about going.
Yeah.
And with this one, it's Pfizer, and so it is approved for 16 to 18-year-olds. So 16-year-olds can get this.
And that's the thing, philosophically, if you're a parent and you're on the fence about it, your kid's going to school every day. Get them protected. I mean, I can't imagine what it'd be like to go back to school in this situation. I mean, this is where I come every day, and at most, there are 5 of us here, ever. At one given time, there are 5 of us. And then I go home to my house. So I'm comfortable, and generally everywhere I go, if I'm not masked, because it's just here and home. But if you go to school, you're around a lot of other people. And here is the opportunity, like Lola said, 16 and over. You can get vaccinated. Go. Good on you, Wheeling Hospital. They had 1,500 extra doses come in the next week, between this week and next week. Go get it. Go get it. You're eligible. Go get it. West Virginians, you don't have to be from Ohio County to just go get vaccinated at Wheeling Hospital. We'll be back. The NFL has a little bit of news. We'll share it with you coming up after the break. This is The Watchdog.
She grew up in an Indiana town, had a good-looking mom who never was around, but she grew up tall and she grew up right with them Indiana boys on an Indiana night. The age of 18, she blew the boys away, was more than they'd seen. I was introduced.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. Hints from the White House about the $3 trillion infrastructure bill President Biden is expected to announce tomorrow. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki.
The focus of his speech, of his proposal, is on investing in America. We're talking about tax reform proposals that would help pay for it over time.
And President Biden signing an extension of the Paycheck Protection Program into law today.
Nearly 90,000 businesses are still online, and there's money left. Without somebody signing this bill today, there are hundreds of thousands of people who could lose their jobs.
The PPP had been set to expire tomorrow. To Minneapolis and day 2 of the witness testimony in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. We're hearing from bystanders who were there when George Floyd was put in a chokehold. Teenager Darnella Frazier tells the court she's still dealing with what she saw that day.
It's been nights. I stayed up apologizing and apologizing to George Floyd for not doing more and not physically interacting and not saving his life. But it's like, it's not what I should have done. It's what he should have done.
The Justice Department is looking into how to better address hate crimes and bias-motivated incidents.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland is directing the Department of Justice to use its resources to address a rise in violence against Asian Americans. In a memo to staff, Garland wrote that the DOJ aims to increase tracking and reporting of hate crimes, prioritize investigations and prosecutions, and explore how to address bias incidents that don't rise to the level of a hate crime in different jurisdictions. The review will last 30 days. Avery Harper, ABC News, Washington.
You're listening to ABC News.
Hello, good neighbor. Pat Boone here. You know, for years I've been warning Americans about the secret war on cash by big government, targeting your money and your privacy. Now, recent reports confirm that some banks are refusing to cash checks, and cash is being confiscated from innocent citizens. I'm serious. It's truly shocking. The folks at Swiss America have detailed all the dirty little government secrets in their free report, The Secret War on Cash, and it's available now by calling 800-289-2646. Why don't you write that down? 800-289-2646, because time's running out to take action. Don't become the next victim in this battle. Get The Secret War on Cash. Call 800-289-2646. And be sure to tell them Pat Boone gave you this number, 800-289-2646.
The country's second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, witnessing vaccination efforts at a community health center in Silver Spring, Maryland.
We need to reach those folks who aren't necessarily online, our seniors and others in the community. And as we heard today from the doctor, we have to go out to where they are, meet them where they are.
Emhoff stressing the vaccine must get to the most vulnerable. The latest test flight of an experimental SpaceX rocket was successful until the very end.
3, 2, 1.
The liftoff of the SN-11 from the SpaceX test site on the southern tip of Texas was shrouded in a thick fog, but the rocket did what it was supposed to. It climbed the 6 miles, slowly rotated, and began its descent back toward the launch pad. About 30 feet from touching down, the onboard camera froze.
It hit the ground. Flying debris and pieces of Starship. There's stuff.
Putting the best face on the explosion, SpaceX founder Elon Musk tweeted, "At least the crater in the right place." Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Teenage brains may be especially vulnerable to marijuana and other drugs. According to a new study, adolescents who experiment with pot and prescription drugs are more likely to get addicted than people who are college-aged or older. But not much difference between the two groups in terms of alcohol and tobacco. The study was conducted by the National Institute on Drug Abuse. This is ABC News.
Panera's new flatbread pizzas are here. But to our new chef, Klaus, they're not just pizzas, they're masterpieces. Because it's not just cheese, it's hot and melty mozzarella and fontina cheese. It's not just sauce, it's market tomato red bell pepper sauce. And it's not just toppings, it's fresh mozzarella, basil, and grape tomatoes. Taste our delicious new flatbread pizzas today. Order online for pickup or delivery. Panera. Restrictions apply.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
This is ONN.
Yesterday, all Ohioans 16 and older became eligible for the coronavirus vaccine for the first time, leading to an uptick in demand for the shots. Brittany Bailey with affiliate station WBNS-TV in Columbus says some in Ohio are working together to track down appointments.
Many who were supposed to get vaccinated in previous phases are now frustrated. They say they are still having trouble finding doses and scheduling appointments. But one Facebook group called Ohio Vaccine Hunters is playing a key role in community sourcing. The group is helping to spread the word about where and when vaccines are available.
It's almost in a sense that people have become these like citizen reporters. They're the one breaking the news, before news stations are sometimes in this Facebook group. So, it's really become a true real-time source for information.
I'm Brittany Bailey.
And the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium announced yesterday it's operating under new leadership. Andrew Kinsey reports.
CEO Tom Stolf and Chief Financial Officer Greg Bell both resigned because a Columbus Dispatch report claiming improper use of resources. The report said the two led family members live in houses controlled by the zoo, and family members received tickets for events like concerts and sporting events. An internal investigation was launched following the report. The zoo says former executive director Jeffrey Warren will take over as interim CEO while a national search gets underway. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
And I'm Daniel Barnett on the Ohio News Network.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Stand by. You're back to live and local programming in moments on The Watchdog.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
There are times when you shouldn't ignore what your body is telling you, and you need to seek medical care. At Wheeling Hospital, we want you to know that we are taking every precaution to make your visit as safe as possible. We're screening visitors using the latest infection control technologies, offering telehealth for physician visits, and more. This is true throughout our campus, in our ER trauma center, our physician offices, surgical center, and on our patient floors. The pandemic isn't over, but be assured that at Wheeling Hospital, we are here when you need us.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. Mostly sunny skies, a high near 73. Clouds thicken up with perhaps a scattered shower around through the overnight. A low of about 52 degrees. A daytime high near 57 for your Wednesday, with a few scattered showers. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. News, talk, sports, and rock is all right here. Right now. Back to Real Big Talk with Big Rick on The Watchdog.
3:10 here on the Watchdog. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. Real Big Talk continues. In the 2 o'clock hour, we were talking about something else. The NFL slipped one past the players. 17-game season, done. It's going to happen. Now, I shouldn't say it slipped past the players. They agreed to it in their collective bargaining, and they still play the same number of games. They will just cut down preseason from 4 games to 3 and play 17 actual games that count. Of course, the NFL is already the richest sports league in the world, which shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. The players actually agreed to this last year in the 2020 collective bargaining agreement. Some of them are really not happy about it. And it doesn't necessarily give them an extra game check. It just means they'll be paid over 18 weeks instead of previously 17 weeks. So they still get a bye. They'll still get the same amount of money, but they still have to play one more game that counts and one less game that doesn't, which is good for Ben Roethlisberger because we haven't seen him actually play in the preseason forever. So there's 3 freebies there for Ben, so that's good for him. He needs the money, I'm sure. It's an interesting way that this is going to break down. The NFL had to keep the number of games to 20 because that's it. That's all they are technically allowed to play with the Players Association. That's why they were able to do this and make 17 games that count and only 3 games that don't. Every team will remain 1 bye week. The season is going to begin on September 9th and will end January 9th. The Pro Bowl will be played on February 6th in Las Vegas, Super Bowl in Los Angeles. Roger Goodell, who of course went to school right up the road at W&J in Washington, but doesn't really talk about it. And I don't think he gives all that much money back to it. Again, another guy hurting for money. He said this is a monumental day in NFL history. The CBA with the players and the recently completed media agreements provide the foundation for us to enhance the quality of the NFL experience for our fans. And one of the benefits for each team playing 17 regular season games is the ability for us to continue to grow our game worldwide. Now, Roger Goodell is someone I just am repulsed by looking at. And you can tell that he's a weasel. But at the end of the day, he has grown the league. Whether you like it or you don't, the NFL, for the most part, has done nothing but thrive under him. You want a couple of staggering numbers. Just listen to this. Listen to this number. The deals with new, different media strategies. So the league has deals now with Amazon, CBS, ESPN, ABC, Fox, and NBC. That covers everyone. That covers everyone. According to multiple reports, those deals will bring the NFL and its players, because there is a revenue share for the players, which is now up to about 48.5%, I think, over $100 billion in revenue between 2023 and 2033. Again, you don't have to like Adele to appreciate the fact that that's an obscene number. That is an obscene number, and essentially plays in the sandbox with everybody who would want to carry the NFL. That to me says that he has done a lot of things right. You don't have to like him to appreciate that. But some players are really, really not happy about it. For the Steelers, their extra game is going to be against Seattle. It's already been announced. So it wasn't like, oh, we decided to do this, we better figure out who's playing who. This is something that's been, I think, a foregone conclusion for quite a while. And it's already been released. The Steelers, their extra opponent will be Seattle, which is not an easy out. I mean, see, it's not like they're going to get an extra shot at the Bengals, who might actually surprise people this year a little bit. Joe Burrow, I think, is fantastic. But yeah, the Steelers will get Seattle, and how it breaks down is the formula for scheduling for the season with the odd number of games will consist of two parts. First, the AFC and NFC teams will alternate annually between 8 and 9 home games. The AFC will have 9 home games in the initial 2021 season, so that will be a home game for the Steelers against Seattle. The extra game will be a cross-conference matchup based on the previous year's divisional standings and the division schedule rotation from 2 seasons prior. So they thought an awful lot about this. Leave it to the NFL. You ask them what time it is, they build you a clock. But yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. More football equals more revenue. That's the bottom line. Selling 9 home games as opposed to 8 creates a lot more revenue. It sells more beer. It sells more food, more parking. It brings hotel rooms, availability in the city to 0 when some of these visiting teams come in. I mean, Pittsburgh, I'm just using the Steelers as an example, but, Pittsburgh travels well, so they go to other cities and they'll go to these games. I mean, look, everybody's going to have to recover from what just happened. We're not out of it yet, not even close. Some businesses still may not survive. It's not like, since it looks like the worst has passed and everybody that survived is going to survive. That's not true. Now, the NFL is not going to go anywhere. But I guarantee you the restaurant owners around these cities, the hotels around these cities, they're thankful for this. They're absolutely thankful for this. The commerce that surrounds the NFL is gigantic. I mean, you don't think about it, but just everyone from bus drivers to people that make jerseys. The NFL puts a lot of money into our global economy. Here's what I really don't like about this. What teams are going to have to go play in different countries? And is that a thing that is even going to happen? We've seen teams play in London and Mexico City and Toronto. I think the Bills played in Toronto last year or the year before. Last year, it was not a thing. When borders do open back up, where are they going to send these players? I don't blame the players for being mad on this one. I mean, I think it's great because it's just another Sunday of relevant football. At least you hope it is for your team. But I don't blame the players for being mad. Where's Goodell going to send them next? I mean, do you really think NFL Europe didn't work? Do you think American football in Europe is going to become such a huge deal? No, it's a big deal because it's once. It's once a season. If you have the London Lightning or whatever you want to call it, yeah, people will probably care in the initial season, but I don't think overall people care. I think it's a lot like soccer here. It's like, soccer, that's fine. Soccer's fine.
We'll go to a game. We'll see what it's like. That's about it.
I think that's what happens to the NFL if they move if they decide to set up shop. And that's ultimately Goodell's goal. When he signed what probably will be his last contract with the NFL, that's probably what his end game is. I want to be the first commissioner to put a team in a different country, whether that be Mexico, Canada, London, or England, whatever.
Canada is about the only one that really makes sense.
Yeah, and Canada has their own version of football.
CFL.
And people seem to like it in Canada. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's not the biggest deal. Hockey's the biggest deal in Canada. But of course, here comes America booting their favorite sport across the border, saying you're going to like this one better than your own sport. That's what the NFL does. That is what the NFL does. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll get into some other topics. 304-214-1600 is the number to call us. Coming up 4 o'clock, Stephen Allen Adams joins us. We will discuss all things happening in Charleston. Are you going to pay more or less in taxes? What's going to happen with that? It's very exciting, and Steve knows all the answers. At least we pretend that he does, and we'll talk about that at 4 o'clock right here on The Watchdog.
This is Bill DeFabio, your host of The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio. Heard on The Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in and get with the program. I'm Bill DeFabio. Join me for the Variety Show on the Watchdog.
The pads are popping for the Mountaineers. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Caridi. That story coming up on today's Mountaineer Report.
Did you know that 1 in 8 Americans struggle with hunger? Yet more than 40% of the food we produce is thrown out. At Kroger, we know we can do something about this. We're donating more food to local food banks through our partnership with Feeding America. And we're working with World Wildlife Fund to end food waste. But we can't do it alone. And we hope you'll join us in creating a world with zero hunger and zero waste. Visit thekrogerco.com to learn how you can help.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on backyard favorites like grill-ready hamburgers and fresh-picked strawberries? Then shop at Kroger. We give you more ways to save on the fresh you love with tools like the Kroger app, where you can find personalized coupons on top of weekly sales. Plus, rewards like fuel points, giving you prices that are lower than the everyday low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Technically, yesterday was the third practice session for the Mountaineer football team this spring. However, defensive coordinator Jordan Leslie says it was really the first because it was the first time this spring that the Mountaineers went out in full practice equipment, and they got after it. Leslie was asked for his evaluation and what he tried to accomplish in day one in the pads.
It gets a little harder, not only physically but mentally. So really what we want to do is we want to expand on the install a little bit and really more situational than anything, things that are particular to whether it be third down, red zones, whatever. So adding a little bit of that, wanted to see how guys reacted to that, and I thought it was about what I thought it would be. We had some older guys that didn't miss a beat, and younger guys struggled a bit, and that's natural. That's okay. That's part of it. The big thing, what we try to do is the kind of the rhythm of when we install the defense is practice, correct, and re-practice the same thing again. And so that day by day you're putting this section, this section, this section. And I think you should put in what you're trying to get in, practice it, let them make the mistakes, let them fail, and then correct it, and then do the same thing again the next time you're out there.
That's Mountaineer defensive coordinator Jordan Leslie. The Mountaineers continuing to work out as they get set for the spring game Saturday, April the 24th. Congratulations going out to WVU pitcher Jackson Wolf. He was named the Big 12 Conference's Pitcher of the Week yesterday. He threw just over 7 innings of shutout ball in West Virginia's 11-0 victory over Kansas back on Friday. The Mountaineers won that series, taking 2 of 3 games. That is today's Mountaineer Report, brought to us by Kroger, the official grocer of WVU Athletics. I'm Tony Caridi on the Mountaineer Sports Network from Learfield. I am G. Collins.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Update the look in your home with new flooring and get 11% off everything now at Menards. Update your floors with Designer's Image self-adhesive vinyl tile. The Silver Series offers an elegant look, is water-resistant, and easy to install. They're just 69 cents each after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through April 3rd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Catch Biff Leonard on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe. Weekday morning 7 to 10 a.m. Only on the Watchdog. Live and local talk radio. Just the way you like it.
didn't know what rock and roll was until you met my drummer on that great tour bus. I got there in the nick of time before he got his hands across your state line. Yeah.
It's 3:25. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. Watchdog. Real Big Talk continues, and we're talking about the NFL extending, and it is official. They are extending into 17 regular season games. Steelers schedule so far updated as Seattle's going to be that 17th opponent. I assume that is in week 17 or week, I guess, 18. But I don't know. I don't know how they're going to mix the schedule in. It did not have a date on it. It just said that will be the extra opponent for the Steelers. And I'm looking to see who the Browns are. Of course, we carry Browns football here on the Watchdog. But since we were talking about football, we save sports for the 4 o'clock hour, but we're going to talk to Stephen Allen Adams about all things West Virginia government then. So let's get some of this stuff out now. Interesting Yahoo News poll, and we've talked about this a few times, and I've kind of made fun of it, but perhaps, I know this is going to come as a great shock, perhaps I was wrong. Perhaps I was wrong. Of course, there have been a lot of social justice related things that have taken place in professional sports in the last year. And of course, everything that developed with the Colin Kaepernick situation and kneeling and staying in the locker rooms and different social justice messages that leagues have put out there. And of course, the 2020 election, sports kind of got woven into that somehow. Well, according to this Yahoo News poll, 34.5% of the poll said they now watch less sports. Less sports. You know, I still have to believe that the popular narrative is to say, yeah, I don't watch nearly as much and still watch it anyway. I do. I mean,
I know it.
I think people, same thing with Nikes and anything else that people get mad about. They keep saying, well, I'm not going to do that. And then in the privacy of their own home, do it anyway.
It's just like through this whole year, oh, I'm eating healthier. Then why are people gaining 20 pounds over this last year? But you ask everybody, and oh yes, I've discovered cooking again, and I'm eating healthy.
Yeah, you are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's why you got a bag of chips shoved under your cap.
Yeah, getting the chicken sandwich instead of the burger doesn't mean you're eating less red meat. That's it's just. But yeah, it's true. That's how I feel about this. And look, maybe it's right, and I mean it's a Yahoo News poll, so take it. Take the information for what it's worth. But yeah, people said they're tired of the social justice messages that come along with sports. I liken it to just if you're a fan of Ted Nugent, but you don't want to hear him talk about politics, you're not going to go to a show because he's going to talk about politics, even though you just want to hear the music. And the same with the Dixie Chicks, so don't anybody get mad like I'm pointing fingers at Ted. Because I can tell you what, I would enjoy sitting there and listening to Ted Nugent songs that I like. You're from Michigan. Ted Nugent is a native son, and whether you like the Nudes or not, the point is you would root for a guy from Michigan, and I'm sure on his way to the top you did. But listen.
Yeah, I like Ted's music. I went to one concert, said, ain't never going back.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you're going to sit there and listen to, I don't like to mix my sports and music, I guess entertainment in general. I don't mix it with politics. And I think that that's where a lot of people are finding themselves. Now, I think as people are saying, I'm not watching nearly as much because I'm tired of this and I'm tired of that, I'm sure when the national anthem comes on, if somebody's kneeling, someone's doing something they don't approve, they go, he's stupid, blah, 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 and then you watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to salute somebody that, a social justice warrior of some sort, blah, 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 blah. But you stuff the game on. Same thing with the concerts. Same things with any form of entertainment. Any form of entertainment. You're just going to rah, 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 but you're still going to watch it. But if you're going to go somewhere where, example, Ted Nugent is playing, he is going to tell you how he feels about Democrats. And if you don't want to hear it, then don't go to the show. But if you want to watch sports on TV, which is how most of us have had to watch sports over the last year, you're going to get that. It's built in. So you can choose to not turn it on until after the game starts. You don't have to watch the coin toss. You don't have to watch the national anthem, which I don't think they showed the national anthem this past year, did they?
I don't know. I don't turn it on until the game starts.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. And you can totally do that. You can totally do that. But I don't know. I thought the poll was kind of interesting because I still maintain that people are carrying that narrative, but not necessarily doing it less. This was a fun one, too. I saw this and thought, I don't know that they're going to do that. Kim Mulkey, who is the coach of the ladies Baylor Bears basketball team, she thinks the NCAA should get rid of COVID testing when it gets down to the Final Four. Basically, her argument is, and of course they are eliminated, so they won't be in it, but she thinks that they should just get rid of it because wouldn't it be a shame to have COVID keep kids out of playing in the Final Four? Well, you know what? Everybody played by the same rules, and it does stink. I mean, I'm with her. Yeah, that would really stink if you get to the Final Four and your team essentially gets eliminated because they have a COVID outbreak. Yes, I agree, Kim. That stinks. However, everyone's played under the same rules.
We've had teams in the men's side be eliminated.
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah.
And I get it. You're talking Final Four. You weren't talking 64 teams or 8 teams even. You're talking the Final Four. I get that. I get it. But I get it. Baylor's in Texas, so things are different. But this is not going to happen.
Aren't they bubbled anyway?
Well, I think so.
When you get down to only 4 teams, that's not. And each team has had their own floor on a hotel, and they've been sequestered onto that floor. Now, I'm talking about the men. I don't know how they treated the women, but...
Well, I would imagine they would have to separate them in a similar fashion. Maybe the accommodations aren't as nice, but I would imagine they'd have to...
at a Red Wolf Inn.
Yeah, somebody left the light on for you.
I get it. The kids have been bubbled anyway. What is the point?
I guess, and nobody wants to see that get disrupted. I mean, these kids obviously have to work hard on the court. They have to maintain grades. They have to travel. They're probably not doing the things that they like to do, at least not nearly as much. I get it. They're making a sacrifice too, but it is what it is. Every other team had to get there, and you're right. There was one of the teams in the men's side that was disrupted, Oregon and VCU.
Yeah, VCU got.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it has happened, but I just thought that was kind of I think it's a pipe dream, and according to the NCAA, and it was an emphatic, will continue to test through the end of the championship on Sunday, according to spokesman Rick Nixon, who told ESPN, get it. Look, and if you are a college athlete, there is probably a very, 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 very small chance if you did get COVID that you would die from it. But why would you can't roll those dice. You can't roll those dice of one team getting it, spreading it to someone else on another team, them taking it back to their block of rooms and their teammates, and then taking it back to their campus. Yeah, I mean, it stinks, but you can't risk that. I just think, especially for someone who wasn't in it, I thought it was kind of a foolish suggestion at that point. Just say, you know what, we're not in it. I don't know why you have to make a last-minute headline. You're not in it.
I thought when you brought up Baylor women, I thought you were going to bring up that she was lodging a formal complaint about that not foul yesterday.
No, this was I just thought this was so relevant. It's like, we're not in it, but they shouldn't do that anyway. You're just trying to continue to be in the spotlight here, and it's the death rattle of this year's 15 minutes of fame. You were a second seed and didn't do anything with it. That happened. Like WVU didn't do anything with their high seed either. That happens. But this is not a thing that's going to happen. They're going to test vigorously, I'm sure, through the end of both tournaments. We're going to go ahead, take our break. We'll be back, new topics, and getting ready to get close to 4 o'clock. We'll have Stephen Allen Adams on. We'll talk about some state business right here on the Watchdog.
Action update on the Watchdog. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
The Elite Eight coming up today. Michigan taking on UCLA. The Wolverines are the 6.5-point favorite with a total of 136.5. Gonzaga and USC will meet in the West Region final. The Gonzaga Bulldogs, an 8.5-point favorite, total 153 and the hook. One half of the Final Four is already set after Baylor beat Arkansas and Houston beat Oregon State. The Bears open as a 5-point favorite over the Cougars in the Final Four, total 135 on Saturday. Flyers over the Sabres 4-3 after today. As a $1.80 favorite, the Flyers send the Sabres their 18th straight loss. I'm Mike Sennett on the Watchdog.
You know, there's always that one team that ruins your bracket, and that's why you should bet the Twin on FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook app, because your first bet is risk-free. It doesn't matter whether you're betting a #1 seed team or a Cinderella team. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit if your first bet doesn't win. And FanDuel has odds on all the action, games day and night, an easy-to-use app, multiple deposits, fast withdrawals, always on promotions, and more. And FanDuel wants to make you a millionaire. They're giving away $1 million to a lucky bettor. New and existing users get an additional shot at the payout every day you bet the 20. So if you want a shot at becoming a millionaire or even a thousandaire, download FanDuel Sportsbook, use my name Monroe in the promo code box. You must be 21 or older, present in Pennsylvania or West Virginia. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply for the $1 million drawing. Risk-free offer for first online real money wager only. Site credit non-withdrawable. Expires in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-GAMBLER.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it.
Hey, Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing!
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
There are times when you shouldn't ignore what your body is telling you, and you need to seek medical care. At Wheeling Hospital, we want you to know that we are taking every precaution to make your visit as safe as possible. We're screening visitors, using the latest infection control technologies, offering telehealth for physician visits, and more. This is true throughout our campus, in our ER Trauma Center, our physician offices, surgical center, and on our patient floors. The pandemic isn't over, but be assured that at Wheeling Hospital, we are here when you need us.
This is Bill DeFabio, your host of the Variety Show with Bill DeFabio. Heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in and get with the program. I'm Bill DeFabio. Join me for the Variety Show on the Watchdog.
341 here at the Watchdog. I'm Big Rick. That's Lola. The Who's on. That's never a bad thing. Going to push sports into this 3 o'clock hour. We're going to talk to Stephen Allen Adams from The Intelligencer. Coming up at 4, a lot of things going on statewide that we wanted to talk about. Obviously, when I text Steve this morning to make sure we were still on, he was like, how long do we have? I mean, it's a lot of stuff. And we'll get to it. We'll get to as much as we can. If you want to ask Steve a question, you can call us or text us now and put your question in for Steve if you want. 304-214-1600. That's the Watchdog phone number. We'd be happy to have it. Continuing on with sports, though, this is a sports conversation that's become, honestly, a much bigger conversation than just sports. It's what's happening with the quarterback of the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson. 19 civil suits thus far against women, a lot of which are telling the same story, and a lot of which are massage therapists that read it yourself if you want to know. But it's inappropriate. It's beyond inappropriate.
Yeah.
What?
Dog.
Yeah. One or two of these things is okay. 19. I don't know if you can get 19 people to all tell the same story. Now, even if you just say, what is the old game? Telephone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From one person to the next person to the next person, by the time you got to the end, the story changes. These are all very similar situations, all coming from one Houston lawyer. Tony Busby is the man's name. Initially, people were speculating that Busby was hired to do this to kind of keep Deshaun Watson in Texas. I don't think this is the case. 19 people.
That's a pretty hefty payroll.
It is a pretty hefty payroll. You're right. There's some really disturbing things in here. Here's one of the things that, I don't have any idea what it's like to have an overabundance of talent that someone would pay me that kind of money for. Most people don't. But one of the stories that's come out about this recently was Deshaun Watson reached out to one of these massage therapists via direct message on Instagram, trying to get her to settle out of court, and then hurried up and deleted them as if he didn't send them, as if she wouldn't keep them. When you have millions of dollars and at this point, your reputation not only is on the line, but probably your future of what you're going to be able to do with your talents. And I don't know, maybe he's an excellent stockbroker. I have no idea what he went to school for, but I can tell you that you're going to make more money playing football than you are just about anything else. You would think that someone on his side would say to him, you know what, Deshaun, why don't you just not talk to anybody who's accusing you of anything and let us handle it? We're lawyers. Trying to DM somebody, direct message them, and get them to not continue on with their lawsuit is probably rule 1 of letting your lawyer's lawyer.
Keep your mouth shut.
Wow. When I saw that, I was just like, this has got to be, there's so many different twists and turns to this. And the fact that they're all 19 of these suits are civil. None of them are criminal. And again, I'm not here to judge. I have no idea what happened. I wasn't there. Maybe nothing happened. Maybe they are all lying. I don't know. He's still innocent until proven guilty, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Do you find it odd that they're all civil suits?
If the girls didn't file a police report immediately, and I don't, if it was in the course of what they assumed was their job, I don't know. But you have to have some type of physical evidence, to be able to file a and they may have all gone to the police. And, the prosecutor's office decided there wasn't enough there to charge him, and the preponderance of evidence is different for a civil suit.
Well, yeah,
It's a whole lot easier.
What's one of the most famous civil suits of all time that I can think of is O.J. won the criminal trial and lost the civil trial.
Yeah.
And so essentially the same thing was tried twice. Criminal, nothing. Civil, everything. Now, of course, he never really paid it out. But the fact is that one court found something to be not true, and the other one found it to be certain.
Now, there's a difference between not guilty and innocent.
Well, that's true.
And like I said, it's a different standard of proof for a civil case than it is for a criminal.
Some of these stories are, essentially he's on a massage table and put it this way, the massage therapist just kept on working around the situation. Now, that's not what I do for a living, so I don't know what that must be like. But if you're going to go ahead and take liberties with yourself and the massage therapist keeps working, I assume maybe she did assume that was part of her. Look, whatever he's doing, I'm here to do something specific, and it's not what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can operate in that circumstance, but then again, it's not what I do. And it's not what, unless you are a massage therapist, you really have no idea what that must be like, but I assume it leads to really a lot of uncomfortable situation. Mm-hmm. A lot of uncomfortable situation. And that's essentially a lot of what these stories are. A lot of what these stories are. Are
they accusing him of actual sexual assault? Or is this just inappropriate behavior?
It sounds to me like it is on behalf of the women who allege inappropriate behavior and sexual assault during massage sessions. So both. Inappropriate behavior is one thing. Sexual assault, as we found out yesterday. We had a long conversation about this yesterday because it's something that keeps popping up in the world. Sexual assault is however far you're comfortable with taking it into that realm. And so that's where he is. That's where Deshaun Watson is. Of course, the draft is coming up here in the month of April. And again, the most important thing isn't the structure of NFL and their quarterbacks here, but at the end of the day, it is going to definitely change the landscape of what the draft looks like. Nobody's going to trade for this guy now. You wouldn't think. And how do the Texans put him out on the field if he stays? If he just says, well, you know what, I'll just hack it out for another year. If you're the Texans, you can't put him on the field. You can't put him on the field. And nobody's talking about that, which seems weird. The story that I just read, it just came out about 20 minutes ago, I think. 3:22. So, about 20 minutes ago. That the Texans GM said, boy, this is certainly troubling. That was the quote. These accusations are certainly troubling. I would say so. And again, you're innocent until proven guilty. But, I would say that's probably the understatement of the year, pal. So, it's going to be interesting to see if they will actually have him on the trading block. Will someone go for it? Or will he go out on the field? I don't see any of those things happening. Real quick, before we get to our next break, one of the Buckeyes looks real good. Justin Fields ran a 4.40. That is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings shouldn't be that fast. In fact, the only quarterback to ever run a faster one, you'll never guess who it was.
Wow.
And he was such a great quarterback in college too. Robert Griffin III. So speed doesn't...
I remember when he first came up. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, speed doesn't always make you the best quarterback, as we can see from RG3's history. Although, maybe Washington ruined him. I always thought he had a lot of potential and could play, but he certainly was fast. Justin Fields just tied him for the fastest 40 ever run on a pro day by a college quarterback. So that is... something else to watch, what happens to Justin Fields. Like I said, the draft is coming up in the month of April, and it will be a wild one considering some of the trades we've already seen this far out from the draft. You just have to assume the draft is going to just be a shootout as far as who's going to be willing to give up what to get who. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll come back with another topic, and then at the 4 o'clock hour, we'll get to Stephen Allen Adams and talk a little state government right here on the Watchdog.
The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio is live on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We talk to some of the region's best business owners while keeping you informed about area events and happenings. You won't believe who I have on next. Tune in and get with the program. Guests from preachers to pros and even some Super Bowl champions. Join me, Bill DeFabio, from noon to 2 for The Variety Show on the Watchdog.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the Watchdog trusts.
With all of the stress and distractions of the last year, you may have neglected going to the dentist. Well, now is the time to make an appointment, because delaying dental care can be detrimental for your oral health and your overall health. Dentists have always practiced stringent infection control standards, and over the last year, they've taken additional new precautions to ensure dental patients are protected. When you make your appointment, ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association, so you know that you are being treated by the very best. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care. These ODA member dentists are bound by the highest ethical standards and have access to superior ongoing education, training, and resources. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Beach Bottom. The Watchdog is protecting your yard. Join Howard Monroe, Hoppy Kercheval, Bill DeFabio, and Big Rick for the best live and local talk in the Upper Ohio Valley and beyond. Beach Bottom trusts the Watchdog.
Calls the mama, I'm sure all the hand and I just around.
This is the Watchdog. I'm Rick Daslola. Real Big Talk continues now. Big win by the Pittsburgh Penguins last night. Looked pretty solid. The Penguins have picked up a lot of points in their last couple of games with really a deep swipe at their forwards. I think there's 5 or 6 guys that are on the shelf for the Penguins, including Evgeny Malkin and Kasperi Kapanen, and yet they keep on winning in different fashions. Blew out the Islanders 5-1 the other day, and then a tight one last night, 2-1. So good for them. Tonight on the Watchdog, you can hear Oak Glen at Wheeling Central. That game will be on both KKX and WVLY tonight, so you can enjoy that. We've got high school sports line coming up on Wednesday, and then Mountaineer baseball coming up on Thursday. So hefty sports schedule this week here on the Watchdog as we get ready to wrap up the second hour of the show. I didn't get to this yesterday, but I thought it was worth talking about because I hear a lot of people discussing this exact thing. Former Steelers cornerback Ryan Clark, who I've always was a big fan of and now has done really well for himself in the world of talking sports, whether it be on television, on radio. Ryan Clark is doing very well. And really just generally a likable guy. I've encountered him a few times in my professional life, and he's been really enjoyable to listen to for the most part. And he was not happy about the Steelers' surprise signing of Juju Smith-Schuster for another year, $8 million. Juju says all the right things in the media. I want to be a Steeler for life. This is my home, all those types of things. We talked about it at great length. I think he is going to thrive elsewhere in a market where he can be even more social media savvy. For me, it would be Las Vegas that I think he would probably fit the best. But Ryan Clark actually just does not like this move. He ripped them, the Steelers, for signing him, saying it was foolish, saying that it was foolish on Juju's part. He said he's not going to be the guy in Pittsburgh. He's not going to get the amount of targets that he wants to get, which I think is crazy considering Ben throws it 60 times a game. You went to Pittsburgh because the grass wasn't greener. So basically overvaluing Juju, or thinking that Juju is overvalued for what he does out on the field. Again, he said for so many months that Pittsburgh is my home. He did all that kind of stuff. He did all the right things, said all the right things. But Clark absolutely blasted him, basically saying that, you aren't Pittsburgh-like. You don't really act like a Steeler. And that is really the narrative that I've heard a lot of people, and let's face it, a lot of older people feel that way. I'm tired of the silly hair colors. We lived through Antonio Brown. We don't need another one of those. He's not doing any of those Antonio Brown things. Now, him filming the dances and stuff in the locker room, you may think it's childish, but I got news for you. It's a business. He's doing business when he does that. You don't have to like it, but he shows up for work on time. He's pretty durable. He'll go across the middle. As a receiver, the guy does what you ask him to do. He goes out and does charity work. Is it obnoxious sometimes to see him all over television, all over radio, and all over the internet? Sure it is. I don't want to look at anybody that much. I don't want to look at myself that much, let alone him. He's everywhere. I get that. But when I hear older Steeler fans, and it does come mostly from older Steeler fans, that intolerance of what he's doing, I got news for you. Your kids are doing it or your grandkids are doing it too. You got to think of it that way. The kid is still like 24 years old. I don't think he's even 24 yet. That's what he does. He does the same things your kids and grandkids do. But when Ryan Clark ripped him and said that he's not very Pittsburgh-like, I as much as I like Ryan Clark, I will disagree with the idea that he goes across the middle, the kid takes hits, he shows up for work every single day. You just don't like the social media aspect of him. I think he's more Pittsburgh-like than Ryan Clark's given him credit for. And I'm not a huge fan of the signing. Well, I am for the 1 year because if he does something big, then yeah. I guess there's not enough on film after that season when Ben Roethlisberger was out, not last season, but the previous, where he did enough for me to go, yeah, he's a $12 million a year guy for 5 or 6 years. I don't see that. But I do. I think that Ryan Clark may be a little bit off here, because I see his work ethic. It comes through. And I think that he is more of a Steeler guy and a Steeler player than Clark gives him credit for. I know, Lola, you're a Lions fan and not so much into the whole thing, but, I mean, you see that guys that are 23 and 24 years old, this is who they are. This is what they do.
Well, if it's all on social media, don't get on social media. Nobody's making you follow him.
Well, I think the problem is he's unavoidable because, I mean, if he does something cutesy, every news outlet reports it. And that's where it's like, oh, well, he's just doing this for attention. He's doing this for attention.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
That's how you do things.
That's why. Exactly. But as far as not being Steeler-like, I think he's more Steeler-like than Clark gives him credit for. We're going to take a break. Coming back afterwards, Stephen Allen Adams will join us and talk all things Charleston. We'll find out what's happening around the state. And your tax money, what's going to happen with that? All coming up next on The Watchdog.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packard. More witness testimony on day 2 of the murder trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. ABC's Mark Remillard is in Minneapolis.
The defense worked to challenge the testimony of Donald Williams, who witnessed the encounter between George Floyd and police. Williams has martial arts training and talked about his knowledge of chokeholds. Chauvin's attorney Eric Nelson sought to call into question his experience and how it applies to Chauvin. Williams said the effect of a chokehold is similar to what he saw in George Floyd, losing consciousness from cutting off blood flow to the brain.
Silent blood choke within seconds. Some people don't even know that their body goes unconscious.
Mark Remillard, ABC News, Minneapolis.
President Biden extended the Paycheck Protection Program, first put in place last summer. It was set to expire tomorrow, but will now be extended for another 2 months. A major announcement on rebuilding the nation's infrastructure from President Biden expected tomorrow, and a major price tag expected to be in the $3 trillion range. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki today.
The focus of his speech, of his proposal, is on investing in America.
Psaki says tax reform proposals will help pay for the plan over time. Over 15% of Americans are now fully vaccinated against COVID, but does that include the variants? ABC's Uni Han with some encouraging news.
The 3 vaccines in the U.S. will probably stand up to the variants, according to a new study from Dr. Anthony Fauci's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. Research on 30 patients who have recovered from COVID shows a key part of their immune system, called the T-cell response, was likely to fend off the new variants. Researchers say the same response is likely in vaccinated people. The institute calling the small but peer-reviewed study a promising yet preliminary indicator. Uni Han, ABC News.
Jennifer Shaw, a member of the cast of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, facing federal charges of running a nationwide telemarketing fraud scheme. You're listening to ABC News.
Hi, break time? I know you. I'm Cologuard, a prescription colon cancer screening option for people 45 plus at average risk. It seems like you take care of yourself.
I do. I play tennis. I try to eat well.
What about screening for colon cancer?
Not yet.
Don't wait. Colon cancer is more treatable when it's caught in early stages.
Tell me more.
Cologuard is non-invasive and is used at home. It detects altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers.
92%?
Yep, even those in early stages.
This was seen in a clinical study with patients 50 and older. Any positive result should be followed by a diagnostic colonoscopy. False positive and negative results may occur. Cologuard is not a replacement for colonoscopy in high-risk patients. Do not use if you have had adenomas, have inflammatory bowel disease and certain hereditary syndromes, or a personal or family history of colon cancer.
Most insured patients pay $0. Ask your provider or an online prescriber if Cologuard is right for you, or visit requestcologuard.com.
I'm on it.
Excellent.
The massive cargo ship that blocked the Suez Canal for nearly a week is being inspected after being freed.
Ships once again sailing through the Suez Canal, resuming global trade for the first time in nearly a week. That after a salvage team freed the colossal Ever Given cargo ship stuck sideways in the waterway. It is expected to take several days to clear the backlog of over 300 cargo ships. An investigation now underway to determine what caused the Ever Given to crash into the bank. It delayed the delivery of billions of dollars in goods, from cattle to oil. Lawsuits are expected. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
One of the world's biggest automakers rebranding its vehicles in the U.S. ABC's Jim Ryan.
Several reports now say Volkswagen plans to drop the K in its name, replace it with a T, and become Volkswagen in the U.S. The change is a nod to the company's push into electric vehicles.
The name change will officially take effect this May. When American astronaut Scott Kelly spent nearly a year in space, his heart shrank, even though he exercised 6 days a week during his stay. Researchers found the same change in a French long-distance swimmer after his 159-day swim across the Pacific Ocean. The findings suggest gravity helps the heart function and maintain its size. Results of the study are published in the American Heart Association's journal, Circulation. Wall Street, the Dow lost 103 points today. This is ABC News.
Guys, we need to clear a path here.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can stall your business.
By tonight. John.
Like at Chris's logistics company, to avoid things grinding to a halt, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
This is ONN.
Yesterday, all Ohioans 16 and older became eligible for the coronavirus vaccine for the first time, leading to an uptick in demand for the shots. Brittany Bailey with affiliate station WBNS-TV in Columbus says some in Ohio are working together to track down appointments.
Many who were supposed to get vaccinated in previous phases are now frustrated. They say they are still having trouble finding doses and scheduling appointments. But one Facebook group called Ohio Vaccine Hunters is playing a key role in community sourcing. The group is helping to spread the word about where and when vaccines are available.
It's almost in a sense that people have become these like citizen reporters. They're the one breaking the news, before news stations are sometimes in this Facebook group. So, it's really become a true real-time source for information.
I'm Brittany Bailey.
And the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium announced yesterday it's operating under new leadership. Andrew Kinsey reports.
CEO Tom Stolf and Chief Financial Officer Greg Bell both resigned because a Columbus Dispatch report claiming improper use of resources. The report said the two led family members live in houses controlled by the zoo, and family members received tickets for events like concerts and sporting events. An internal investigation was launched following the report. The zoo says former executive director Jeffrey Boren will take over as interim CEO while a national search gets underway. I'm Andrew Kinsey.
And I'm Daniel Barnett on the Ohio News Network.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Live and local talk is just around the corner. Stay right here on The Watchdog.
My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care of you.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Tuesday. Mostly sunny skies, a high near 73. Clouds thicken up with perhaps a scattered shower around through the overnight. A low of about 52 degrees. A daytime high near 57 for your Wednesday, with a few scattered showers. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors. He's not your father's talk show host, but your dad can listen too. Real Talk is right here, right here. Real Big Talk with Big Rick is on The Watchdog.
Here she come now, say morning, morning. Shoot 'em down, turn around, come on, morning. Hey, she give me love and I feel alright now. You gotta toss and turn and feel alright, and I feel alright. I say yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause you make me feel like a
Welcome back to the Watchdog. I'm Big Rick. Lola is here. And Stephen Allen Adams is on the phone joining us from Charleston. And Steve, when I texted you to make sure we were on for today, we just kind of jested about how we could probably talk for a long time about what's happening in Charleston right now.
Yeah, for sure. But this is right now probably the busiest time in the West Virginia legislature, even this year, where while your heavy-duty bills have kind of gone through early, tomorrow is what is called crossover day. That means any House bill that is still in the House had better get passed tomorrow, or it is technically dead, though nothing's ever dead in the legislature until they adjourn a week from Saturday, and vice versa. Senate's got to get their bills out and get them to the other chamber by tomorrow. So they're working really hard. The House is actually in recess at the moment. I think they come back in momentarily, but they're all just trying to get through their bills, and there's, things they got to do. They have to be read 3 separate days unless they suspend rules to move those bills a little faster. So they are working real hard to, especially those lawmakers that have little pet projects in these bills that want to see them come to fruition. So there's a lot of jockeying, a lot of vote whipping, a lot of sometimes angry outbursts, and they're on the floor for a long period of time. So tempers tend to flare. It's one of the reasons I think the House dismissed so that they all can get some lunch and stop being hangry. So, very busy time of year right now.
I would imagine so. Stephen Allen Adams, you can read his stuff in the Intelligencer and Ogden newspapers around the state. You're talking about what's going on right now. I would imagine, because I've never watched this. I mean, obviously, you see it so often that it probably doesn't faze you. Occasionally, you help spark outbursts that take place in Charleston. But I mean, I guess give me an idea of how uncomfortable that gets. And you don't have to point to any specifics if you don't want to, but I mean, is it just kind of like caddy for caddy's sake, or is it just like, I straight up don't like you right now and here's what I got to say about it? Because I really don't know.
Well, think of it like summer camp in a way. If you're, with a bunch of young people for a week, it's one of those things where you have a good time, but sometimes, you're around each other too much. And
that's funny. It's pretty funny.
Seriously, I mean, it's that simple. You get tired of each other. They'll yell at each other. Most of them don't take it personally. And by the time we get to day 60, they'll all be, arm over arm and singing Kumbaya. That's almost always the way it is. I mean, when you have bills that you're really trying to get through, and you have bills that are stuck in committees, even bills that have already crossed over, at this point, becomes almost like a hostage situation, for lack of better comparison, because, you'll have a senator that has a bill on the House side that they'd like to see moved, and, well, I've got your bill in my committee. If you want to see your bill moved, then you better start moving on my bill, and that sort of thing happens all the time as we get down to the final days. So there is a lot of anger and kind of snipping at each other and things of that nature. But that's just session, man. That's just how session goes.
That's what I mean. I mean, for people like me that have never really sat down and overly watched any of this happen, and a guy like you that has that insight to seeing probably more of it than you care to ever talk about, I just kind of wondered how it went, because I always thought it was fascinating, and I remember, I don't remember if you and I talked about it or if it was Lola and I, but during the election last year, hearing the stories about how John McCain and Joe Biden would fight each other on the floor and then go have lunch. And I feel like we don't hear enough stories about how politicians from opposite side of the aisles are legitimately good people to one another away from their jobs. And sometimes I feel like that could happen really, anywhere, at any state, probably at any level of government. But I mean, is that what happens? I mean, do they just, take the time out, go out, grab something to eat, get some fresh air, and Republicans and Democrats sit on a bench together and, eat their egg salad? Does that happen, really?
I don't know if that happens nationally anymore, but I will say to some extent it still happens. I would say at the local level, at the legislative level, not for everybody. I mean, look, the Republican caucuses are so big in both chambers, especially the House, that they even get on each other's nerves. It's a big tent. But, at the same time, well, for example, you had a really close vote today in the House, specifically on the Intermediate Appellate Court bill. That's to create a new Intermediate Appellate Court. That's Senate Bill 275. They've been talking about it for well over a decade. It's been recommended by a couple of different groups. Businesses want it real bad. Trial lawyers, not so much. And it's always had a problem getting out of the House. Senate has always been good about pushing that bill out. It's certainly been very much a labor of love for Charlie Trump, the Senate Republican Committee Chairman of Judiciary. But House is where it's always had problems. And last year, it actually failed on a tie. which was the closest it's ever gotten to getting passed. Well, the House was actually able to finally get it out today, but that vote was 56-44, and that means you had, I think by my count, 21 Republicans vote against the bill for various reasons. Some didn't think it went far enough, but you have others that are kind of small government conservatives that see this as an expansion of government, another bureaucracy, another avenue to possibly slow down justice for the little guys in favor of the big corporate machine. So that's a vote where you have a little bit of contention with even Republicans amongst themselves that don't necessarily agree with the end goal.
That's interesting stuff. We're talking to Stephen Allen Adams. Read him in the Intelligencer and Ogden newspapers around the state. I'm fascinated by the situation. Now, I would never trade jobs with you because I don't know. First of all, I think your understanding of all of this is superior to probably a lot of people that would cover this in any state. So I applaud you for that. And I know that I could never pay attention to it well enough to understand it. But I do think I think the nuances that we don't see when Republicans disagree with Republicans, and of course in this state, like you said, I mean there's a super majority of that in rule. I would imagine that probably does get a little dicey from time to time. Now let's move to, I think the big one is our tax dollars. I mean this story is it's gaining some national attention.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of that is because there is a group called Opportunity Now West Virginia. It was formed by former Senate President Bill Cole, Republican out of Mercer County, basically to help push the governor's tax reform plan. And the thing that they've been doing real hardcore, and it may work or may not work, is they've been trying to get Governor Justice to do interviews with national conservative outlets, whether it's Cal Thomas, syndicated columnist, whether you are talking about Sean Hannity, Hugh Hewitt, people like that. They're trying to get the governor in front of to talk about his tax plan in the hopes of reaching voters that would be more inclined to watch that sort of stuff in West Virginia, which I'm sure there are plenty that would do that. But of course, here's the dirty secret. The governor's tax plan, in essence, is sort of dead for the same reason I just talked about earlier, which is you got to get House bills out of the House and Senate bills out of the Senate by tomorrow, and the governor's bills just aren't moving. Now, yesterday, the House passed their version of a personal income tax phase-out that could take anywhere from 11 to 17 years, the way they have it set up. It doesn't raise any taxes, unlike the governor's plan, but it does take money from other tax revenue streams, which could cause some issues for various programs. Senate has that bill. In fact, they're going to be taking it up the Senate Finance Committee here shortly. And they are putting their own tax plan into the bill that tries to marry the governor's plan and the House plan. So it's very complicated, but there is a lot of movement on that. What will happen, I'm not sure. I still think it might implode, but they are moving forward.
Yeah, it seems like it has so much potential to implode because they're so... Now, whether people think the idea of phasing out the personal income tax over time or immediately, however you want to look at it, whether you're for it or against it is one thing. How it can actually be done and how these plans can marry, to me, it seems like the most difficult of tasks to figure out, because it seems like, it's such a big, bold move. Whether it's right or wrong is whatever, but it's such a big, bold move. I would imagine that there's probably a very slim chance that they're going to be able to hash this out in a quick fashion.
Well, certainly not within the next 11 days.
Yeah, I can't see that.
It's going to be tight. Yeah, for sure, because basically the Senate plan that's getting introduced, tax foundations actually looked at it and evaluated it. It's taking, in essence, it does what the governor's bill does not do, whereas it cuts taxes for individuals up to 60%, but leaves kind of your small businesses, the pass-through type taxes, sole proprietorships, they would still have to pay the normal rate. This actually cuts their taxes too. The Senate plan But, of course, to make up that revenue, they are providing some tax increases. And their sales tax increase is actually higher than the governor's. Governor's was at 7.9. It's currently 6%. That Senate plan boosts that up to 8.5%, which would definitely make it one of the highest sales taxes in the country. And they take remove a few tax exemptions, and they have other tax increases. But they take the House plan in a way, which was going to create a fund that was going to basically skim off these various tax revenue sources that already exist. The Senate plan creates a fund too, except it's funded from tobacco tax increases and things like that.
I got so many questions, Steve. Will you hang on and let's talk about this after the break, because I do. My head is spinning. Lola and I just made eye contact and went, we got questions. Stephen Allen Adams is on the phone with us from the Intelligencer. We'll be back after this quick break to take these questions.
The Variety Show with Bill DeFabio is live on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We talk to some of the region's best business owners while keeping you informed about area events and happenings. You won't believe who I have on next. Tune in and get with the program. Guests from preachers to pros and even some Super Bowl champions. Join me, Bill DeFabio, from noon to 2 for The Variety Show on the Watchdog.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next project with 11% off everything. TrueBolt door locks provide you with quality products for security at an affordable price. The Dublin privacy knob comes in a variety of finishes so you can match your decor. Right now, all TrueBolt lock sets are 11% off. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through April 3rd. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to
This guy knows so much about sports. They based the Sports Almanac from Back to the Future off of his dream journal. He's Bill DeFabio, weekdays noon to 2 on the Valley's only network dedicated to live and local talk radio, The Watchdog.
Welcome back to the Watchdog of Big Rick. Lola's here. Stephen Allen Adams from the Intelligencer joins us on the phone. Steve, get out of my dreams and get out of my wallet. That sounds more like what these plans are going to do. Before we went to break, you mentioned that there is part of this, and Lola's got questions too, because we just talked about it while we were in that break. But you're telling me that part of this proposal one of these proposals is to raise taxes plus 8%? 8+%?
Well, it wouldn't be 8+%. It would be 2.5%, which sounds nice. But when you're paying 6% on your consumer sales tax, and that could go up to 8.5%, which would be the highest in the nation. It would have been the highest in the nation under the governor's plan too.
Which was 6.9?
7.9.
Or, I'm sorry, 7.9.
Yeah, so...
Has anybody looked around this state and noticed that it's not the most financially stable for the people that actually live here, or at least in my case, eat lunch here, buy their gas here, occasionally grocery shop here, and spend entertainment dollars here? Is nobody looking at the people that actually,
I suspect the senators, the Republican senators, would tell you the same thing the governor keeps trying to tell everybody, which is, yeah, you're paying more in those taxes, but when you put everything on the scales, you are actually getting a net benefit versus a net decrease, which is what the governor keeps trying to say with his plan, which he's speaking tonight at 6 o'clock in one of his virtual town hall that he's been doing over the last couple weeks. I suspect the senators would probably try to make the same argument as well. Now, I am not a financial expert. I'm lucky I know how to do math through Excel spreadsheets. So I don't know whether it does or doesn't, but I mean, I will tell you the Tax Foundation, which is a nonpartisan group that evaluates, particularly state and federal tax structures, will say even though it's well-intentioned, especially if what they want to do with phasing out the personal income tax, which the Senate plan they say would definitely do it a lot quicker than the House plan, which would take a long time and perhaps eat into government programs. They say that this is better as far as that goes, but again, with raising the taxes that they're talking about doing, it may have also the opposite effect. And again, the whole point of all of this, from the governor on down, is to try to reach those people in the U-Hauls just driving around in circles across the country that don't know where to move to, and once this tax gets passed, plug in West Virginia in the GPS.
What a great way to describe it. This is Stephen Allen Adams we're talking to. You can read his stuff in The Intelligencer, and also apparently live at the Improv. That was very funny. We almost lost Lola on that one. I've done that to her a few times, but you actually got her too, unbeknownst to her.
That's been my goal.
But it is true. Like, I guess I just can't, no matter how many times I see these things, and again, I rely on you to layman's term them for me, but when I read this stuff, and I, trust me, what Governor Jim says I can generally follow, because it really isn't, it is, I hate to use the term dumbed down because I'm not trying to insult the man, but really it is as layman's terms as it can be. But I also think it's crap. I don't think it's going to work. And yeah, there really aren't people driving around in the U-Haul with all their possessions going, where should we settle? This isn't happening. And I can't get over, as someone who not only lives in this state, I've lived in this state, I own property in the state, I still do, and I love it here. I choose to be here, and it's because of the people. I mean, really other than that, I just love being around West Virginians. I love being in this area, and I know West Virginians are such a proud state. I can't believe anybody goes along with this. I mean, that's really the bottom line for me is, and I hate paying taxes. Like it bothers me to no end. Like I throw a tantrum at tax time, I do, but I don't know, am I so far out of understanding this that I would rather just go ahead and pay the taxes that I'm paying now as opposed to taking a risk on something that honestly sounds like it's going to do nothing but harm the people that live here? Am I missing a big factor here, Steve?
It really just depends. I mean, the Tax Foundation, I think the last ranking I saw, we were either ranked 26th or 24th in the country as far as tax climate. Why? Because, let's be honest, property taxes are really cheap here, certainly cheaper than surrounding states. Other taxes are relatively low as far as that goes. So, I mean, we don't have a terrible tax structure here, and while lower taxes are great, that's one factor, and the problem is it's such an individual decision that, yeah, that might be a factor for some people, and it will be. It's not going to be a factor for others, and same thing goes for locating businesses. Some people are going to consider that a pretty big factor. Some people consider that a factor, but certainly not the main factor. Everybody's motivations here are good, and they all have the same goal. I don't know why they haven't rented out a room somewhere and put, Governor Jim Justice and his people, and put the House, House Republicans, the people who support that plan, the state senators that support that plan, the business community that wants to see this, but they don't like the governor's plan, but they do like the House plan. Why are we not putting all these people in a room, versus the governor getting onto a screen and demonizing two groups? Last I checked, endorsed them in two different elections, that aren't outside groups. And why are we not trying to get these people together to figure this out? I still think, and I had it in my column Monday, that I think people are leaning towards a special session for this. I think you're going to have to do it just to focus on this issue and start working those people to try to come up with some sort of compromise solution that would work. If they come up with the right thing, it's possible it could both be, benefit and bring people here while not hurting, what we already do with our existing services.
I mean, that's I get it. That's the overall goal. How do we get people here and also not hurt who's here? And right now I see more of the get people here plan than not hurt who's already here. But then again, some of the other things that the state is doing are anti-bring people here. And that's the part of it that I still don't get. And I mean, that's probably another story for another time. Steve, what are the other, what's the other hotness going on in Charleston? I know we don't have a ton of time left, but I want to make sure we cover all the big stuff.
Well, I'm actually working on a story right now. The House passed a bill. I'll try to sum this up the best I can, as quickly as I can. House Bill 2581. It's meant to basically provide a different way of, this will sound boring, but trust me, if it means raising property taxes in the Northern Panhandle, people will be interested real quick. But it's meant to create a new valuation system for how they do natural gas property taxes and things of that nature. They're trying to change the law in order to try to make it more fair how it's done. The problem is the way they change the law, it's going to reduce tax revenues from those property taxes for several counties in the Northern Panhandle: Tyler, Wetzel, Marshall, Ohio, Brooke. We also got Doddridge and Ritchie counties, Harrison County, natural gas producing counties whose county governments and county school systems rely off of property tax revenue from the natural gas industry. It's certainly going to help those industries as far as keep more money with them, but it's going to definitely hurt some counties. And over the years, they've gotten a lot of money from the natural gas, for sure, and to their benefit. But we're also talking about very rural counties that aren't exactly starting to line their toilets with, gold leaf. They still have a lot of needs in those counties. So that tax today, most of the Northern Panhandle delegates, Republican and Democrat, came out hardcore against it. We'll see where that goes on the Senate side, but that could put a hurting on counties in the Northern Panhandle.
Yeah, I think about, two of my favorites, kind of wedged between where I've lived, where I've been, and what I like is Ritchie County that you mentioned, and Doddridge as well, and just kind of compared to Ohio County, where I go every single day of my life. Those counties are different. There are businesses here. There's not a ton of revenue coming the way of Ritchie County anyway, and that's not a shot at Ritchie County. I've enjoyed my time in Ritchie County, but there's really not a lot there. There's not a lot in Doddridge. There may be a little more in Doddridge County, but not much. People are going to get affected by that.
They're not relying off that great, glass factory revenue anymore. This isn't like 1950s. They've got some real issues. Not a whole lot of industry in these particularly more smaller counties like Ritchie, like Doddridge, like Tyler. Right now, they rely pretty much solely off the natural gas industry and support services as well for tax revenues. So if you're going to cut this, you're going to put them in a similar situation to some southern West Virginia counties that have seen their tax revenues dry up as coal is starting to be mined less and less.
Yeah, this is that is definitely a story to follow. Steve, in the last 30 seconds here, Give us any update you might have on the way West Virginia's vaccination is going. Obviously, it still looks very good. It still looks like it's top notch, and the opportunity for more people to get vaccinated is here. Mentioned earlier in the show, Wheeling Hospital actually has 5,000 doses. I mean, they are ready to vaccinate anybody that can come and get it that's from West Virginia. Numbers are going up a little bit, though. Anything the governor or any officials have said about this in the last 30 seconds here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking about vaccination rates right now. I think more than 17.4% of residents have been fully vaccinated. Numbers are going up. It's primarily 16 to 29-year-olds, honestly, because they're the last ones to get vaccinated. We just now recently opened up vaccinations completely to age group. So I suspect once we start getting those people worked through, which they're encouraging, if you're in that age range, get in the Everbridge system, contact your Walgreens and your Walmart, because Walmart's going to participate in the federal vaccine program. Get your vaccines, and I think we'll see these numbers come back down. It happened in Israel the same way with their young people. There was an uptick with their young people. Once they got them in the vaccine pool, that number came back down. So I think this is more of a blip than anything that's serious.
Good stuff, Steve. We appreciate it. Read his stuff in the Intelligencer and Ogden newspapers around the state. We'll check in soon, pal. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.
All right. We'll be back with more on The Watchdog.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. Several hundred high school students in Kanawha County now have their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine.
I'm really happy just for myself, being protected, and also just knowing that I won't infect other people as well.
That's George Washington High School junior Jacob Kolaski, one of around 250 students between the ages of 16 and 18 at the school who received their first shot of the Pfizer vaccine on Tuesday. It was part of a county-wide effort in 8 high schools to vaccinate the younger population. Health officer and executive director of the Kanawha-Charleston Health Department, Sherry Young, says now is the time to target the kids because that's where the spread is.
That tells us when we see the disease rate going up that that's the next place we need to target for vaccinations.
Young told Metro News that the COVID-19 outbreaks at 7 schools in the county is under control, and she is confident in the plans moving forward. I'm Jake Flatley, WVMetroNews.com.
State Department of Health and Human Resources is today reporting 331 additional COVID-19 cases across the state. The years-long effort to get an intermediate court bill through the legislature has cleared a significant hurdle today with passage in the House of Delegates. Pleasants County Delegate Trenton Barnhart was one of the yes votes today.
People have said, oh, this is just another layer of government. Well, let me tell you, it's not another layer of government, it's another layer of justice.
The House has changed the Senate bill, meaning the bill will now head back to the Senate for consideration. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. The State Senate Finance Committee will meet next hour to discuss the Senate's income tax reduction plan. The House has passed its own version, did so yesterday, and Governor Jim Justice has his own version. We'll see if the three can meet somewhere before the end of the session. A special prosecutor has dropped prostitution-related charges against Marshall County Senator Mike Maroney. Maroney is out with a statement today. Quote, he says this brings closure to an injustice that has had an enormous negative impact on me and my family. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on The Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. In the NHL tonight, the Washington Capitals back on the ice as they take on the Rangers. The Caps have won 3 consecutive games and have just 2 losses over the last 16 games. Washington is currently 2 points up on the Islanders and the Pittsburgh Penguins in the East Division standings. Washington is in search of its 5th consecutive road victory. In spring training baseball today, the Pittsburgh Pirates' final tune-up game. They'll take on the Minnesota Twins. Regular season in Major League Baseball gets underway on Thursday. Thursday openers include Baltimore at Boston. The Pirates are on the road in Chicago to take on the Cubs, and the Nationals take on the Mets. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on The Watchdog.
Parents, do you want your child's shoes to fit perfectly? Then you need to get your kids Skechers Stretch Fit shoes. Because Skechers Stretch Fit shoes are so comfortable and so stretchy, they easily slip on and fit almost like a sock. Your child is constantly moving and constantly growing, so they need a shoe that moves with them. And Skechers Stretch Fit's soft, stretchable material contours to their busy feet. It's a perfect fit. And not only do they fit like a dream, they perform like one too. Skechers Stretch Fit keeps your child's feet comfortable all day long. With Skechers' exclusive air-cooled memory foam and a breathable stretch fit knit, your child will be cool and comfy whether playing, studying, or just hanging out. Plus, you'll love just how durable they are. Stretch Fit is designed to take everything your child can throw at them, and if they get dirty, just pop them in the washing machine. It's that easy. Give your kids perfect comfort that adjusts to them with Skechers Stretch Fit shoes. Find them at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever kids' shoes are sold.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I'm loving living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disclosure.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
April 1st, a day for pranks, jokes, and of course, a Nailers hockey game and Easter egg hunt for kids and adults. Find all the eggs for a chance to win merchandise, gift cards, and a golden egg with 10 free tickets for the West Virginia Lottery Powerball Suite. Sponsored by Generations, Healthy Vibes for You, and Tito's Sloppy Dogs. Get tickets for the April 1st Nailers Easter egg hunt at West Banco Arena. Game time 7:10. Call 304-234-GOAL or visit WheelingNailers.com. This is Nail City.
Hi, it's Howard Monroe. Coming up tomorrow on the Watchdog Morning Show, we will look at crossover day in West Virginia's legislature. It's the day when bills have to get from one house to another. No more can happen after that. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be taking a look at the COVID situation. While vaccines are becoming more and more prevalent, COVID numbers are rising. And we'll take a look at the George Floyd murder case, the case of the cop accused of killing George Floyd. Much more as well in the morning, starting at 7, right here.
Friday night I crashed your party. Saturday I said I'm sorry. Sunday came, trashed me out again. I was only having fun, wasn't hurting anyone, and we all enjoyed the weekend for a change. I was stranded in the combat zone. I walked through Bedford style alone, even rode my motorcycle in the rain. And you told me not to drive, but I made it home alive. So you said that
I just kind of got lost in that one. I love Billy Joel. Did you see kind of an interesting mix? Metallica has recorded something with Elton John. It's not available yet, but boy, I'm anxious to hear it. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about things that just normally you wouldn't imagine you'd say out loud. Metallica and Elton John going to cut a cut a song together. I assume it says they have recorded together. That was the only report. Right now, before we get to anything involving music and what Elton John and Metallica will do together, we got to talk basketball. I mean, it is getting down to it. And there's always that one team that ruins your bracket. But that's why this year I'm betting the tournament on FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. Because on FanDuel, it's risk-free. It doesn't matter who you're betting on. Pick the one you don't think is going to win, and you still are safe. It's amazing that they can do that. New users get up to $1,000 in site credit back if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel has odds on all the action with games day and night, an easy-to-use app, multiple deposits, and fast withdrawals, and always-on promotions. Your next chance to win with FanDuel is just minutes away. It's coming down to it. It's good stuff. The basketball tournament, regardless of COVID, in fact, I don't know if maybe it's made it more interesting. I wouldn't say I'm glad it's here, but I would say certainly with different situations that have happened within the tournament, it has made it a very interesting year for basketball. And if that's not enough, FanDuel wants to make you a millionaire. Yes, they're giving you $1 million to one lucky bettor. New and existing users get an additional shot at the payout every day that you bet the tournament. So if you want a shot at becoming a millionaire or even just $1,000-aire, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just use promo code RICK so they know that I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code RICK, R-I-C. Must be 21 and over, present in PA and West Virginia. No purchase necessary. Restrictions do apply for $1 million drawing. Risk-free offer to the first online real money wager only. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires within 14 days. Restrictions do apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem in West Virginia? Visit www.1800gambler.net. Who do you like that's left, Lola? You go in Michigan?
Absolutely.
I thought that you might. Yes. I thought that you might. And we're getting down to it in our Watchdog Madness contest as well. Thank you to West Liberty for the opportunity to give away a flat screen television. And we still have our lucky participants. If you're not sure if you won, if you signed up for the contest and you haven't been following along, you can get all that information over at our Facebook page. Just find the Watchdog, hit the like button, follow us, and you'll be notified every time that we go live. So myself and Bill and Howard can watch the show right there. You can do so at our website as well, watchdognetwork.com. I wanted to mention this. In the last couple of days, I've seen quite a few people like the page. So thank you if you're new, like over to our Facebook page. And if you're not there yet, go over there and like it. We're going to do some fun stuff over there. And of course, we've got this contest going on, and who knows what we'll do in the future. Plus, I just like to know that someone cares. It makes me happy. Last night, Penguins win 2-1, a tough game for the Pens, but they come out of it. A lot of injuries on the Penguins in the forward department, but they are managing to scrape and scratch together. Tristan Jarry left the game last night with an upper body injury. In fact, he finished the first period, skated off the ice like no big deal, and then he didn't come back out. The Smith went in the net, managed to save 19 out of 20. And pick up the win for the Pittsburgh Penguins. This was kind of weird. I'm sure you didn't watch the game or listen to it, Lola, but the taxi squad, we had a lot of questions about when the taxi squad started. It really hasn't played into, knock on wood, anything that's been overly interesting. The taxi squad is the 6 players that teams are allowed to hold in case they need someone an immediate call-up because it's kind of the buffer for COVID. They're not playing with another team and get called up. But they're also not practicing with the big team either. They just kind of live in their own separate bubble. They actually needed the goaltender last night as an emergency from the taxi squad, which they are allowed to do. He came and sat out on the bench, and they made him leave. He's not allowed to sit on the bench. So basically, if he would have been called into action if DeSmith would have went down, he would have to come out of the locker room and just go straight to the net. So when he came out and sat on the bench, he sat there for about 30 seconds, and then when the cameras panned over to him, he was just sitting there, and he got tapped on the shoulder and was told to leave. So
It's rude. That's just rude.
That's just it was kind of weird, It was like, I get it. Like, they have to, look.
No, I don't. He's in the locker room with them.
Well, he's not. That was the thing. They're actually not. So he's in the building. He is not in the locker room for pregame. He doesn't skate or anything with the team. And basically in the second period, between the first and second period, they said, get your gear on. We're going to need you. I don't know if he's actually sitting there geared up or not, but he's in a separate room. And
It's
so
just- I don't
it
care.
is. It's
just rude.
It's like, you got to be kidding me. I get it. Nobody wants COVID. Nobody
He's
wants it.
probably safer as far as COVID goes than the guys that are on the bench.
Well, yeah, and the goaltenders that are waiting, the backups are wearing masks. So he had his mask on. It wasn't like he was heavy breathing on anybody or getting anybody else. I just thought it was like, all right, I get it. COVID protocol is allowing hockey to happen, and that is what I'm most thankful for. In the world of sports, that's what I'm most thankful for. But I just thought, I don't get it. So he's now the backup goaltender. He'll be allowed to sit on the bench, but they keep shifting people from that taxi squad. I just thought it was kind of a really odd particular move because it was funny. They panned to him right at the moment. It's like he ran away. Like he ran down the runway. Like, I got to get out of here. I'm not supposed to be here. So I just thought that was kind of weird. We just want to take it to the end?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. You know what? Just take the break. It's okay. All right. We'll take the break now, and we'll come back, and we'll finish up today's show right here on the Watchdog.
This is Bill DeFabio, your host of the Variety Show with Bill DeFabio. Heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Join me from noon till 2 to talk sports, nostalgia, and hear from some of the legends of the game. You won't believe who I have on next. The Bill DeFabio Variety Show, heard on the Watchdog Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in and get with the program. I'm Bill DeFabio. Join me for the Variety Show on the Watchdog.
Have you ever thought about having a podiatric physician examine your feet? Doctors of Podiatric Medicine are physicians. They set broken bones, perform wound care, treat corns, calluses, remove bunions, and can even perform total ankle replacements. Our physicians complete 3-year residencies in hospitals and train to manage your total foot and ankle health. Athletes with arch problems or tendon issues frequently seek out care from our physicians. Common health issues that podiatric physicians treat include ingrown or fungal nails, as well as warts and skin problems like athlete's foot. If you have ulcers or blisters, you should have that checked, and have your footwear checked too. Diabetics are especially prone to foot issues when they have neuropathy. Foot exams are easy and can prevent many foot problems. If you can't walk, work, or enjoy sports activities without pain, what are you waiting for? Visit associationsadvanceohio.com to find a podiatric physician who is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association to help you, so you know that you are being treated by the very best.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all?
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along. Well, we flew through Oklahoma, Alabama, and through Georgia, trying to get on down to Florida for the game. And then we loaded up our tailgate, joined the car.
Sometimes country music doesn't sound like country, but I can't help but like it. That song just makes me smile, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
It associates you with football.
Yeah, probably. And you know what? That's one of my favorite things.
See, and I love country
there's
music.
some country that I absolutely love, and I love traditional country. That's really what I like. I mean,
I don't listen to new country. No, mine's all old.
Yeah, send me to a Hank Williams Jr. concert any day. You couldn't drag me to an Eric Church concert. And then, the thing is, Eric Church is more rock and roll than he is country, sort of, ish. It just, to me, it seems fake. I don't know. It seems forced to me.
Or like pop country.
Yeah, and
What is up with bubblegum country?
Yeah, seriously. Old Hank is not having it. Programming note tonight here on The Watchdog, Oak Glen at Wheeling Central. That's going to take place, both frequencies, KKX and VLY. That is going to be at 7:30 tonight. Rest of the week in sports, high school sports line tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Thursday, we've got WVU baseball versus Oklahoma State. That will be both channels at 6:30. And Friday, more baseball again, Oklahoma State again at 6:30. Pending weather. I mean, seriously? Did you look at the forecast?
Yes.
I got shorts and sandals on. It's summer. But apparently we're going to have one last rattle on Thursday with perhaps some inclement weather. It's going to get cold, and we could actually...
Just say the word. I hate the word, but say the word.
It could snow. Yeah, it could snow on Thursday. So just absorb that how you must. Do whatever you need to do.
Hibernate through it. That's the best way. Sleep right through it.
Do whatever you got to do to keep your serotonin level to the right place to make sure that you can get through that. I promise you, we're getting through it. Real quick, I just before we get into anything else as the show's coming to an end, something that Steve said. We talked to Stephen Allen Adams earlier. If you weren't joining us, something he said really made a lot of sense that I hadn't thought about. And I guess I'm an overthinker, and I know that about myself. But the numbers that are going up with COVID numbers, he pointed out, were 16 to 29-year-olds. Well, they haven't had a chance to get vaccinated.
Right.
You slipped past me. I didn't really think of it that way, but as it looks like 16-year-olds in both Ohio and West Virginia are going to be able to get the vaccine, if they can't get it now. And of course, again, Wheeling Hospital right now, the spot. They got 1,500 extra doses. They say they have 5,000 in the next week or so.
Now, I want to remind everybody, it's not at Wheeling Hospital. It's at Michael's up at the Highland.
But I think you have to go to Wheeling Hospital.
Well, you have to get
registered.
Call a number or get registered. Yeah, but it's Wheeling Hospital sponsors it, but it's at Michael's.
Yeah, all the information is at wheelinghospital.org, so you can go ahead and get there. So get vaccinated. We'll do it again tomorrow at 2 o'clock. For Lola, I'm Rick. You guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. Thanks for listening to The Watchdog.